So, as we're approaching that time of year again, the nicer half, let's delve into the roles of the Green Man and the May Queen. Who are they? What's their connection to Beltane, and what do they represent in the Celtic Brythonic tradition? Let's start with who are the Green Man and the May Queen. The Green Man is commonly recognised and often seen as one of those foliate heads we see carved in medieval churches right throughout Europe. However, his deeper roots stretch into pre-Christian traditions, mythology and nature worship. He's believed by many to be linked to earlier pagan and animistic traditions, such as that of the Celts. They venerated nature, and that included tree spirits, and core among their beliefs was the eternal cycle of life, death and rebirth, evidenced in their own world through the observation of the vegetation cycle. So, tree, vegetation and local spirits played a very large part within their belief system. Some of the possible origins of the Green Man come from Celtic and Gaulish traditions, where no direct Green Man figure exists in Brythonic or Gaulish mythology. There are strong parallels with figures like Belenos, the antlered god associated with nature, fertility and the wild. And his imagery sometimes does include vegetation, particularly in later interpretations. In contrast, the May Queen appears in modern European May Day celebrations, symbolising youth, fertility and the renewal of life in the spring. She's often crowned with flowers and leads processions or festivities, and is sometimes paired with the May King, also known as the Green Man. Her roots likely trace back to pre-Christian fertility rites associated with the goddess of the earth, spring and sovereignty. Some of these names are historically attested, while others have been passed down through the generations only to be revealed in certain contexts. Some, however, remain closely guarded by our inner circle to protect them from exploitation and dilution. Later, Christian Europe absorbed these customs into May Day celebrations, focusing on innocence and renewal rather than overt fertility rites. The Victorian era further romanticised the May Queen, making her a central figure in spring festivals. The Green Man and the May Queen are often seen as complementary figures in spring and fertility traditions. So the Green Man represents the wild nature, fertility, and the spirit of growth. He is the male force of vegetation, thriving in the sun's warmth, while the May Queen symbolises the blossoming of life, renewal, and feminine fertility. She is the embodiment of spring's beauty and abundance. In May Day traditions, the May Queen is a young woman crowned with flowers, representing the spring's full awakening. The Green Man, sometimes appearing as a Jack-in-the-Green type figure, celebrates the wild and untamed forces, and the union between the two ensures the land's fertility and prosperity. So this brings us to the festival of Beltane. This festival, held on the first day of May of every year, celebrates the oncoming season of summer, and it's centred around fertility, fire, and the great union of the forces of nature, with the Green Man representing wild, virile nature, joins with the May Queen, the earth, and the land itself. This echoes the ancient concept of the sacred marriage, where the spiritual masculine and the feminine unite to ensure the earth's fertility. Beltane was one of the 4 major Celtic seasonal festivals. These festivals were deeply tied to the solar and agricultural cycles, and Beltane was the festival that marked the beginning of the Celtic summer on the May Eve. These particular celebrations of Beltane were aimed towards ensuring a fruitful harvest and a successful farming season in a world where survival depended greatly on nature's favour. This festival of the summer was, for obvious reasons, associated with the Celtic sun god, known to the Britons as Bel or Belenos, to those in Gaul. While the Green Man and the May Queen embody the earth's fertility, Belenos is the solar force that fuels it all. Belenos, as a sun god, provides the light, warmth and energy that brings life to the earth and allows the vegetation to grow and the land to flourish. At Beltane, the fires are lit to honour the sun god, symbolising the sun's peak power and its life-giving influence to the earth. And so the Green Man and the May Queen, in turn, symbolise the spirit of the living world, and Belenos is the personification of the life-giving sun and hence the force ensuring their vitality. Building on these ancient themes in later European folklore, the Green Man may have been the influence behind the folklore story of the Oak King and the Holly King. And in this story, the Oak King, the King of Summer, and the Holly King, the King of Winter, battle for control of the year. Each rules for half the year, locked in an endless cycle of victory and defeat, embodying the waxing and waning of the yearly light. As the winter solstice dawns, the Oak King rises from slumber, his strength returning with the rebirth of the sun. He challenges his brother, the Holly King, whose reign has held the world in darkness since midsummer. They clash in a mighty duel, and the days begin to lengthen. The Oak King triumphs, bringing warmth, growth, and the promise of spring. This story echoes a similar story of old Welsh mythology, where Gwyn ap Nudd, the god of the underworld and of winter, and Gwaitha ap Greidol, whose name literally means Gwaitha, son of Scorcher, fight for eternity every May Day Eve for the hand of the fair maiden Crethilad. The fair maiden, of course, could be interpreted as the May Queen, and as previously mentioned, most likely is a reflection of the ancient Celtic goddess of sovereignty and the earth, whose favour determines the land's fertility. So in conclusion, the relationship between the Green Man, the May Queen, and the sun god Belenus can be understood through the lens of seasonal cycles, fertility, and the balance of masculine and feminine forces in nature. Together, they represent different yet interconnected aspects of life. In short, they symbolise the trilogy that underpins the great wheel and the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The Green Man, Belenos, and the May Queen form a sacred triad of life and renewal. Belenos is the sun, the source of all energy. The Green Man is the land's wild and untamed fertility, while the May Queen is the flowering, blossoming, and fertile earth. Together, they ensure life's renewal, making them essential figures in both ancient and modern Beltane and May Day celebrations. The relationship between the Green Man, the May Queen, and Belenos can reasonably be explored in the context as having their origins in early Celtic beliefs and traditions. particularly in relation to the seasonal cycles, sovereignty, and solar worship. While later folklore refined these figures into May Day traditions, their roots likely lie in the Celtic religious beliefs centred around the interplay of the sun, land, and vegetation cycle. So I hope you've all enjoyed this video and learned something very important about the beliefs of the Brythonic Celts. And if you have, then give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and with that, I'll see you all again very soon on the next one.